Grey County.
Welcome to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. I'm one of your hosts, Rhonda Brown.
And I'm Mary Jane Murray, and this is your favorite lifestyle magazine show on Rogers TV.
And you may notice that, yes, I am in pink from head to toe. I told Mary Jane last week that I was going to do that, and we are all in pink because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, and it is a big deal. You know, I have a story and I want to tell it. It's I had a friend who was a cancer doctor, is a cancer doctor, I should say, and she did mention to me that she had a patient come to her with breast cancer so advanced that there was nothing they could do. Which to me, I don't know. Take a look at the girls, do your self-exam, you know, at least pass by the mirror once in a while, you know, or have a partner that takes a check. If you notice changes, because to get to that point, there are some major changes going on and this person didn't acknowledge them. And it's just simply a matter of not acknowledging. I mean, how do you not notice that? But
we also have preventative mammograms too, and that's really important to take advantage of all the prevention options that you have available. And you know, it's 10 seconds of uncomfortableness. However, for me, it's just absolutely worth it.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, it's not a fun process, really. I've gone through it a few times and, you know, had to go back because the pictures weren't clear and that sort of thing. But, boy, I felt a lot better after getting the clean bill of health and knowing that, okay, everything's good going forward. And just, you know. So, Breast Cancer Awareness Month in March or in October. Wear your pink. Yes.
Well, yes, and we have many shades of pink.
We have, many shades of pink today, so that's a good thing.
But all in recognition of how important Breast Cancer Month is in our lives, because it not only affects us personally, but it affects all your family members and your friends as well.
Yeah, and like you say, prevention or at least early detection is so huge for a lot of these different kinds of cancer. So
absolutely. Yeah. So
what else is October?
Yes, October. October is a busy month, of course. I mean, we always think of Halloween for October, but that's coming a little bit later. But also, it is Library Month. And all the libraries in our local communities are putting on special events. So check out your library. It's an essential service in our communities because not only do they have books, but they have all kinds of resources for everyone of every age, and all kinds of programs as well. And this October, they're really ramping it up as the Library Awareness Month in October. We also have, which is really important, is there's no health without mental health. And I think that the mental health crisis line for Grey Bruce, and check out the kids helpline as well, because we're rolling into a season of roller coaster emotions and lots of reasons why we need to check in with our mental health. So please bear in mind that taking care of yourself and the family members around you.
And I mean, really, like you said, into that season, but also the fact that it has been compounded by coming out of COVID, and just because we don't have to wear our masks anymore and we don't have to feel like it's, you know, weighing us down quite as much. Our young people are still struggling with world events. I mean, being faced with COVID and war and the climate and everything else. And I know that maybe we sound like a broken record sometimes, but our young people are facing a lot of challenges and a world that is really full of uncertainty. So if you're getting out of high school and looking at and thinking, what the heck are we supposed to do with our life?
Oh yeah.
You know, it was hard enough when life was kind of normal. It's been not normal for quite a while, and there are repercussions to that. So have compassion.
Well, the other thing too, as you mentioned, I had a conversation with my 9-year-old grandson, and he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and I was so grateful that he came and had a snuggle, and we were able to have a conversation. And he was worried about climate change. He was worried about his future, and he's 9.
9.
And he's 9.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have a conversation of hope. And so spending that time with him, I was so grateful to have that. And we both felt better afterwards. And then I had a little chat with his parents, just to let them know where he was in all of this.
Yeah.
And
so important.
One more thing, because we're getting a little message from our cameraman Dan, who is saying how much time we have. I just wanted to mention that Safe and Sound is having their winter coat drive. And I think it's important now, as we're talking about, seasons are changing, temperatures are up and down and back and forth, and some nights are frost, some nights are not.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
Whether we like it or not, it is on the way.
So if you have good, gently used, zippers worked, buttons are on, winter coats that you can pass on all sizes, then you can drop them off at Safe and Sound on 8th Street. Monday to Saturday, Mondays or Saturdays.
Yes, not all the time. Monday or Saturdays.
2 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Okay. And yeah, I think we're going to have a cold winter, and we're going to have a lot of people with a lot of hardships with the cost of living these days. So if you can find something in your closet that you're not using, that would be fantastic.
Oh, that's right. That's good.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a fabulous show. We've got some very interesting guests today, and of course, adorable Adoptables with Renee, which we look forward to every week. So make sure you stay tuned and don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
Back up. It's just being repaired, and I mean, you see the.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Raven Reads. Unbox Indigenous voices. Subscribe today at ravenreads.org.
Did you have fun? Check this out. It's nice, right?
I'm Mallory, and I was walking home one night when an impaired driver hit me. He had been overserved in 2 bars before getting behind the wheel. If the servers would have called him a cab instead of serving him more alcohol, my life would be the same as what it used to be. I think servers play the biggest role in keeping us safe because it's up to them what state the person's in when they leave. Refusing service isn't personal, it's the law.
Hello everyone, your host Antoine Lahashim here on the couch, and welcome to season 8. Yay! 8 seasons, and we've got a lot of awesome guests coming up, so keep watching.
On Rogers TV, I'm Rhonda Brown. We have the lovely
Mary Jane Murray, what can I say? There are many shades of pink. And we are very pleased to have two special guests with us today, particularly they're new to our Grey County Life show, which is wonderful. We always like to have new people, but also they're bringing a message of hope with them as well. And we have the Reverend Jan Temple-Jones, who is the manager of the Spiritual Care Department for the Grey Bruce Regional Health Services. And we also have Pat Dobick, who is a board member for the Council for the Grey Bruce Spiritual Care. And welcome to both of you, because we've been talking about mental health and how important that is. And so, Jan, tell us more about the spiritual care services that are offered at the hospital.
So thanks, Mary Jane, and thanks for having us, Rhonda and Mary Jane, on your show. And we're very happy to be here and to talk about our favorite topic, which is spiritual care. So spiritual care is provided in all of the 11 hospitals in both the Grey Bruce Health Services and also South Bruce Grey and Hanover hospitals, as well as hospice over here, Chapman House, Grey Bruce Hospice, as well as what we call the palliative home care team. So there are a lot of spiritual care providers working in a variety of settings in both counties. And in last year, in our fiscal year between April 1st and March 31st, over 5,600 visits were made by the spiritual care providers in all the sites that I just mentioned. So it's a big service, it's a good service, and a lot of people have benefited from the provision of spiritual care as they've, as people are facing illness and crisis, points of transition, sometimes grief in their life journeys. So we're very, very pleased to be part of that and to be engaged with people in that way.
Well, we can see an increasing need in the number of folks needing the spiritual care, and it's probably going to increase. Now, you must be a very busy person. You said that there's a whole team of folks. Where do you focus your time?
So as manager, then my job is to oversee all of those people, but I just moved into that position in June of this year, and prior to that I was providing spiritual care at the hospital here in Owen Sound and also at Chapman House. So, and have many years prior experience providing spiritual care in other sites, other places. So, yeah.
How can people? How can people access spiritual care? Like, what is the process?
Well, most often the nursing team or social worker, doctor will make a referral, and it goes through our system in the hospitals, all of the hospitals, and so then we receive the referral to go and see someone. Sometimes it's simply by happening to be in someone's presence. You know, you happen on somebody who's maybe not having a great day, and so you strike up a conversation and go from there. Sometimes people self-refer. Sometimes, especially during COVID, we had referrals from community faith leaders who couldn't come into the hospitals to see their people at the time, so they would ask us, because we were still working, of course, in the hospitals, so they would ask us to see their people. Sometimes it's a family member who will phone and say, can you go and see, they're a distance away, and can you connect with my loved one? So there's a variety of ways in which that happens, but yeah, primarily by referral from other staff.
Well, I think when someone is in a crisis point, and that's usually in the hospital or the hospice, this is, as we talked prior, it is a journey to walk beside someone through this illness or trauma.
Yes, yeah. And spiritual care is about our spirituality really is about what gives us meaning and purpose in our lives. And so when that meaning or purpose has been undermined as a result of illness or points of transition, grief, even death, then that's often when we kind of, our spirituality gets a hit as well. And sometimes people don't realize that we are, physical, social, emotional, and spiritual beings. And it's not until that crisis point they kind of go, wow, there's something else going on here. I'm not really sure what it is, but the thing that has given them meaning has been taken away, or because of accident or illness, or any number of things. So.
Well, I think when someone is ill and is struggling to find, why is this happening to me?
Right.
Then your role is to come in and just kind of listen and be present so that they're not feeling totally alone.
Yes, that's quite true. And then, through our skill sets, as we also assess for spiritual distress, and we're not going to alleviate people's or answer those questions for them, but help them move through that, and also to help them to remember and draw upon the resources they already have. As adults, we come with resources. We're not just a patient. Yeah. We are people with supports, family members, friends. For some people, they do have that religious resource. Not everybody, but some people do. And they also have, all of the things that have made them who they are to this point. So sometimes it's reminding people of all those things. Those things don't disappear because we're ill, but how do we pull those forward and to remember, that you have those resources, and how can we rely on those things again from this point forward. So it's about listening for sure, but it's also about conversation and using those psychosocial skills that we're trained to use to help bring those things out for people.
So it's not necessarily a certain denomination, it's across the board.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can you accommodate that sort of thing as well?
Absolutely,
okay, yeah.
Yes. If people want to see their priest, imam, rabbi, whoever, then absolutely we will facilitate that. Yep.
Well, at this point, I'd like to draw Pat into the conversation because Pat has a story to tell in terms of why she's a member of the board for the council. So Pat, tell us about your experience in getting involved with spiritual care.
The experience probably goes back a very long way. And in my background, I was both an educator in long-term care facilities and a director of care. So as a result of that, I worked very closely with, they were called chaplains in the day. Now they're called spiritual care providers to be more inclusive. And so I worked with them, and I recognized the importance of the service to our residents, to our family members, to my staff members when there was a crisis, because COVID is not the first crisis that's ever hit healthcare. And so I remember, when we'd have an outbreak, for example, in a long-term care facility. We've had lots of those during COVID, and as a result, the chaplain would come in, or the spiritual care provider would come in, and staff could just take a deep breath. The family members, everybody could take a deep breath, and if somebody was dying, which happens certainly a lot in long-term care, one of the realities is the spiritual care provider would come in. And as one of my friends said, because she remembers this experience because we were talking about it, she said to me, all Jean Marie did was come in and touch me and say, "Are you okay?" And that's powerful stuff. Yeah. Jane was okay, but that was her story. But I watched as also this group in the secondary place that I worked. It was phenomenal because we formed a group, and it was called Caregivers with Heart. And the caregivers were the people who came to visit every day. Well, they became a cohesive group. And oh my goodness, whenever I had a challenging person, which often happened, if I had a challenging person, I would say to one of the people in this group, I would say, how would you like to take Mr. So-and-so out for a coffee? And bingo, Mr. So-and-so no longer was a challenge, and he was included, because hospitals and nursing homes, they're scary places.
Yeah.
They are not comforting, easy places to be in. So I watched this in long-term care, I watched it in acute care, and so because of that, I know how powerful the service really, truthfully is. And so that was my reason. I was doing a volunteer project, and I'm from Southampton, but I was doing a volunteer project there, and somebody said they're looking for people for the board. And I thought, whoa, I'd love to do this, because I so strongly believe in the service. And the outcomes are amazing, because we all need support in different ways at different times. And these people, to my way of thinking, are usually the best listeners, because listening is what it's really all about. So often we're ready to answer before we've heard what's being said, and they listen so effectively. And so that's why I chose to sit on the board, and I'm there.
Well, Pat, you're such a great advocate for this service. But I do want to ask a question about, because we all know that financially everything is bare bones. Everything is strapped to the hilt here. We're all trying to be fiscally responsible. How is this program funded? Because now it's becoming, or probably has for a long time, an essential service that we don't really know very much about. So how is it funded?
Well, we can go in two directions here. We have some. Why doesn't Jan tell you about the official stuff that she does, because she unfortunately has to do it. It's not the part of the job I'm sure she likes.
I was going to say that came with the job title, right?
It did. Yes, exactly. Yes. So we do fundraising in a variety of ways, and Pat can talk about some of it as well, but some of it is just through grant application, grant and bursary application, and those are the tedious bits that one has to, all the things that one has to fill out. Sending letters, we rely on the faith communities to a certain extent. We rely on the foundations of all of the hospitals, and even the hospitals themselves often donate money to spiritual care. So our spiritual care providers are paid through the council, so they're contracted with the Spiritual Care Council, and they're paid, they invoice their hours, and they're paid through the council. So all of our, well, I guess about 75% of our budget goes out in wages to our contractors, our spiritual care providers. So it's really important that we do that fundraising, but also receive those funds. And of course, we receive money from individuals as well who are interested in supporting spiritual care.
What kind of fundraising do you do?
We had a big one this past year, and
I don't know. We're living under a rock.
and that's part of the reason why we're delighted to be here, because quite honestly, most people don't even know that spiritual care in all of these facilities exists. And I rested my case when my Joan's predecessor went to, or not Joan's, but Jan's predecessor went to do a presentation in a church, and somebody who was a nurse said to her afterwards, she'd been in a hospital for 17 years and she'd never heard of spiritual care.
Wow. And she's working in a hospital.
She works in the hospital.
Wow.
So we need to get the word out, because it is such an, it is, and your word is perfect, essential service, you bet. It's a really essential service. So last year, because we have a budgetary shortfall, partially because we increased the salaries of these people who are being paid so little, minimal amount, that we did have a budget shortfall. So we decided we'd do a fundraiser. Well, let me tell you, that's a big job, say I. And so our fundraiser was called I Care, therefore I walk. And so people could do anything really. And I personally chose to walk from to get people engaged. I said I would walk from Southampton to Toronto and back again, which I've done on more than one occasion as a fundraiser. But the other thing I did was I put caring benches in Southampton and Port Elgin, which have just been installed because of supply chain issues. But the reality was, it was our first try. Oh my goodness, it is a lot of work. And, but it also increased the number of people who know about the program now, which is really, really important. And so hopefully we'll have now a bit more of a mailing list, and we can hit you up. And not to be smart when I say that, but truthfully, it is such a wonderful service, and it would be such a shame to see it disappear. And one of the comments I made was we should get more money from the foundations. And the immediate reaction was that happened, and Jan knows this one very well, but it happened in Saskatchewan. So hospitals cut budgets, the whole department was gone.
Wow.
So if we don't do it to a certain extent independently,
it could disappear.
But spiritual care, it is an essential service, but if you're cutting your budget because you can't afford to pay a nurse, maybe you let spiritual care go.
Well, I think we'll have to have you come back again later in the season to once again spread this message. And of course, if you're planning another fundraiser, we want to be able to promote that as well, because I know my father, when he was on his countdown, had spiritual care. I was there with him when they did the prayers for my dad, and how important that was. You could see, even though he was in distress, and not verbal, you could see his body start to relax, because his religion was important to him.
Yes, sure.
But at the same time, he had someone just pop in occasionally to help him.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming in to share this message and bringing to light the essential service that spiritual care is, which I think everybody would be in agreement with. But thank you so much, Reverend Jan and Pat, and we look forward to seeing you again and hearing about the next big walk. And walking all the way to Toronto, my goodness, we have been letting the ball fall here, Mary Jane. We need to step it up a notch. We'll be back after these messages with more Grey County Life.
Can we breathe?
Johnny wanted to go back home. It was 1,000 kilometers away. They forced him to go to the Indian residential school. More than 150,000 of us children had to go. They wanted to change us.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name.
Hallowed be your name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
Kill the Indian and the child. It's been called cultural genocide. I survived residential school. My brother Johnny did not.
Chani Wenjack was one of thousands of children who died due to Canada's residential school system. More than 80,000 survivors and their families still live with its legacy today.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Don't forget to tune in to Grey County Life on Rogers TV next week.
We're going to talk to Judy Armstrong with the Canadian Federation of University Women.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. I'm Rhonda Brown.
I'm Mary Jane Murray, and we have another special guest with another very important message for our viewers today. And we have with us Kayla, Kayla Bryant.
Yeah,
Kala.
It's all good.
We knew that was going to happen.
Kala. How many times did I practice that?
Oh, it's all good.
Yes. Well, I always have to correct the title when I send you an email because I always put an R in there when it shouldn't be there.
Oh.
And so I double check. Kala.
Yes.
And you are the Community Development Coordinator for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Grey Bruce, which is a very important organization within the community because you do such good work. However, today you are representing Osava?
Yes, Osava. So we're made up of Owen Sound and area volunteer administrators. We get together once a month to kind of talk about what's happening in our agencies, our organizations, what our volunteers are up to, and what our need is. So yeah, we're like, hey, we need to put on a volunteer fair.
Yep. Is that a new organization? Because I'm just thinking, I think during COVID, because we couldn't have volunteers and people have been a little bit timid about going back out into the community, is this a new thing?
It's not a new thing. It's been here for several years. It's new to me just because I only got onto it starting working with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how long it's been going, but it's been going for quite some time. They've had volunteer fairs before this. Before COVID, but just because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we've had to kind of pivot and wait for many reasons. And now we're gung-ho, and a lot of us are in need of volunteers, so we're like, hey, let's have a volunteer fair and get some people helping us in the community.
Yeah.
So your team to organize the volunteer fair is Kim McFall, who is the volunteer coordinator at the Grey Bruce Regional Health Services.
Yes.
And Loretta Dunn.
Yes.
Who is in a similar role for the VON. And so the three of you are collaborating on this project?
Yeah, we've kind of gotten together several times Loretta's doing a great job taking in people that want to be in the volunteer fair. So if you're an agency out there, a group out there that's saying, hey, that sounds cool, I want to be a part of that, then contact Loretta Dunn, and she'll sign you up, and we'd love to have you. We're hoping to have quite a bit of groups and organizations out, so it'll be a good time.
When is the fair?
So it's coming up this month, Monday, October 24th. And it will be from 3 to 6 where we're going to have it. So lots of time. You got 3 hours, to come out. So hopefully you can come by and see us. It's kind of nice. You don't have to do your research. You don't have to do those emails or phone calls. You come to one spot. We're all under the same roof. Talk to us, learn from us, ask us questions, and we'd be happy to answer all of them. We also have some, fun draws at some tables. So, who doesn't like free stuff, right?
Who doesn't like that? Hello.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So it'll be good.
And it's at the Harmony Center, located downtown, which is pretty convenient for most, for easy access. It's on a bus route.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant in terms of your timing from 3 until 6, because if you are a senior, you can come in at 3 o'clock or whatever your timing is. If you are on your way home from work, if you're on your way to work, if you're on a shift work, on your way to work. So the timing, I thought, was very strategic.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, well, I'll say thanks to Kim and Loretta, because they've done it before, and I'm sure that was their idea, but we'll give them credit.
It's a perfect time.
Yeah.
So organizations, because I know I was talking with somebody about the choir, and they were saying, oh, we have need for some volunteers. Would that be something that we could go set up a booth at? So it's not just health services in our community, it's everybody that has a need for volunteers.
It's not just nonprofits like myself, Big Brothers and Sisters, but it can be any group that's in need of a volunteer. So yeah, if you're a choir, if you're Boy Scouts, whatever you need, we'd love to have you and also collaborate with you.
Yeah. Well, some of the smaller organizations have really been depleted from their volunteer in terms of the pandemic, and everything has just really settled down. Now, with the volunteer fair, you have the opportunity to bring that back to the forefront. And tell us about how important volunteering is in our community.
Well, I think a lot of these organizations, volunteers are, the core of their agency or group. I can speak for myself. Without volunteers, without mentors, we can't reach those kids that need support. And I was talking to Kim just yesterday with the Grey Ruth Health Services. She was saying how she has such a decline the past year even with volunteers, and I'm not sure if it's, of course we can blame it on the pandemic, and we've had 2 years where people have taken a step back from getting into groups and all that, but I think there's just a lot demographically, economically, people are going back to work, for instance, because of the economy. We have people aging out of the system where they're spending time with grandkids, or they have to look after an elderly parent. So she mentioned that to me yesterday when she was talking, that that's kind of what she's seen in her department. For us, it's a little different. It's case-to-case basis, I think, with any agency or group. But with us, we had volunteers reach out to us during the pandemic, and for different reasons, they just couldn't commit to it during that time. But yeah, it's definitely been tough, and we're really hoping that this volunteer fair will kind of, bring awareness to the community to say, hey, we're needing help. A lot of us can't run without volunteers, and just come out and see what you can do to fill your time, right? So maybe you're retired, or maybe you have some extra time on your hands. You can come out, talk to us, and see, hey, that really fits my schedule. I can do that for an hour or two this week. That's fine. I can do that.
Yeah. Well, I think that for people new to the community, it is one of the best ways to get to know some of your neighbors, some of your community members, and where the need is. And if if you've retired and come back to Owen Sound, or come to Owen Sound to retire, it's a great way to fill your days. And
Exactly.
And I wanted to say, I think if people are worried about COVID, because it is still in our community, flu season, let alone kids back at school and everybody having something, you can still wear a mask out in the community. You don't
100%.
have to feel as if you're exposed that way, and hand sanitizing and that sort of thing. I don't see a lot of it out in the community these days, but I'm thinking that with any of these associations or groups, you could still wear a mask to feel safe.
Yeah, of course. You can definitely wear a mask. No one judges anyone, I don't think. And hey, we want everyone to be safe. I think some people, are being safe for their family too. They might have someone at home that has a health issue. So that's some cases maybe why they haven't come back. But yeah, of course, be safe. You can always wear a mask.
Yeah. Another point that I just wanted to mention is that students, your 3 o'clock timing for students who are finishing up their day at school, because they need to get their 40 hours in. I believe that's still a mandate to graduate.
It is, yes.
And a lot of organizations are taking taking students, but I believe you have to be 16 in order to volunteer with a lot of the organizations, but there may be some organizations like tree planting or something like that that will take students who are younger. It just depends on the organization and their policies and routines and procedures. But I just wanted to slip in a little something here that even that is really a shout out to the cameramen here at Rogers TV who are volunteers, and to Rhonda Brown and myself, who are also volunteers.
Oh my goodness.
So the Grey County life would not exist without volunteers.
Without volunteers. Good job, guys. to you guys.
You know, it does. It's amazing to me as I've gotten older, realizing how much, and I'm sure every community is the same. Volunteers are the backbone of every community. Every service, every organization, our libraries, our Meals on Wheels, there are so many different things. So it's incredible to me how generous people are, actually.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of different organizations there. You know, whatever you're into, whatever hobbies you have, I'm sure you can kind of fit it in with your volunteering. And a lot of time, it's fun, you know? So why not volunteer and have some fun, right?
The connections you make when you're volunteering can be lifelong connections. You know, I've got people that I do stuff with, and I've always said, you know, if I'm having a rotten day, when I am walking away from somebody's place and I realize that I'm smiling and thinking, that was really fun, I'm so glad I got to touch base with so-and-so today and make that visit. You know, it benefits the volunteer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would almost hazard a guess to say more than the recipient. Lots of times.
A lot of times we say that in our organization, being a big sister or being a big brother, it's so rewarding. And you know, we have bigs, you know, that say that to us, like, I can't imagine my life without my little. And just this few weeks ago when we had our golf event, I just met a longtime big sister and little sister that have kept in touch for 40 years.
Wow.
40 years. So
wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, what relationships that you keep that are strong, and you know, just building the community, and they've come back and now they're supporting us. So it's really cool.
Wow.
So if an organization wants to participate, who do they contact?
So Loretta Dunn, they can contact. I guess her email is loretta.dunn at von.ca. Okay. So they can contact her. You can reach out to myself at the Harmony Center at 519-376-4449. I can definitely get you in touch and put you on the list.
Okay. For sure. Now, I also want to mention, too, just from my own personal experience, because volunteering is hereditary in our family. It's been passed down for generations. This is what you do. You volunteer in your community and you support it. Every time I have volunteered with an organization, it has led to a job.
Oh, nice.
So people get to know you.
What she's saying is she's sneaky.
Oh, okay. I see. You're sneaky now.
Sneak into that job.
Or she's just
She just shows them. Yeah, she's got so much to bring to the table. It's ridiculous. Yes.
So I think that, Mark, are you listening?
I was like, ooh, I see a job.
So, no, but just from personal experiences, when you volunteer with an organization, they get to see your skill set, they get to see your dedication, they get to see how you work with other people. So not necessarily did it always lead to a job with that particular organization, but it led to jobs where that organization could do reference letters for you. And so for me personally, it has always been the foundation that has led to employment.
Oh yeah, I think it's making strong connections, networking. It's just so powerful, and hey, it looks good on our resume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
that you volunteered, that you gave back to your community. People are like, I want you, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I used to think, oh gosh, it's such a struggle to get the kids to on board with doing their 40 hours.
Yeah.
But I do think for families that it's not necessarily a tradition to volunteer, this opens up the community to these kids with that experience, and like you say, networking and making connections in our community. It's always a good thing. There are no downsides to being a volunteer.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's good, but I mean, there are going to be so many different organizations there and groups, you know. So it also brings great awareness to all of those different organizations and groups out there that people might not even have heard of before. Yeah. So you know, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, well, just the idea of the spiritual care, the previous guest, that, you know, a lot of people had no idea that it's even out there, or that it's something that needs to be funded, you know, let alone volunteer service. Yeah,
I was just talking to them earlier. It's great. Networking here too.
Networking here, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think too, just from my family's experience, because it's come down through generations in terms of volunteering. Now my sons, who are adults, volunteer in the community. So in the communities in which they live, because that's just something we've always done as a family.
Oh yeah, no, that's really awesome that you guys do that, and I think we need to do more of that as families. You know, get your kids involved young. And they can see how great it is to give back to your community and build your community up, right?
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Kala. Just think like Kala Lily or
Kala Lily.
There you go.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Yes. We'll never forget.
Never know? Okay.
Kala Lily. Kala Lily from the
Big brothers, big sisters.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today and letting us know about the volunteer fair that's going to be held at the Harmony Center. Is
Monday.
October 24th a Monday?
That's
yes.
right.
Monday, October the 24th, between 3 and 6 p.m. at the Harmony Center. Be sure to get out there and figure out where you can fit into our community.
Yes.
Oh yes. And can you just give us Loretta's email address just one more time?
So it's Loretta with 2 T's .dunn with 2 N's at von.ca.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kala. We'll see you next time on the show, and we're not going to forget that name ever again.
There you go. You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. We'll be back after these messages with more Grey County Life.
We're so...
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye to an old friend, but when you're saying farewell to your vehicle, Kidney Car makes it fast and easy. Just call or visit our website. We'll take any vehicle in any condition and give you a tax receipt for a minimum of $300. No headaches and no towing charges. It's the one-stop solution for getting rid of your unwanted vehicle in just a few short minutes. When your vehicles reach the end of the road, call us toll-free or visit kidneycar.ca.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
I'm just going to keep scratching it. Welcome back to Grey County Life. We have a very interesting guest on Adorable Adoptables with Renee, and he is really cute. Renee.
He's really cute is definitely what he is. Also very busy and kind of loud. I'm going to keep rubbing his bum in the hopes that he keeps sitting here nicely. He is a 1-year-old neutered male beagle by the name of Watson. And Watson, despite his unruly behavior on TV, actually does have some manners and he does settle. He enjoyed some time yesterday with community living. They did some volunteering up at the shelter and they took him for lots of walks and he was really good afterwards. So maybe we should have had a nice long walk this morning. In saying that, he is settling right this second, but I've warned everybody in the event he hasn't. Bum rubs. Apparently bum rubs are the way to go.
Yes.
Watson is good with dogs, although very busy, active puppies. So if you have an older dog, that dog may not appreciate it so much, so you need to be prepared for that. He is good with cats, but he chases them because it's fun. Not aggressively, just because it's fun. And he is good with children, which is also really good. If you were watching the show a few seconds ago when Watson would not sit still, I was grabbing him, pinching him, squeezing him. He was fine. I mean, he didn't love it, but he was fine. And I hate to say it, but that's the kid test.
It is. I mean, absolutely.
If they tolerate being squeezed, they're okay.
They're okay.
Certainly not recommending him for a home with tiny toddlers because he's not been with them, and plus that's not fun, right?
Yeah,
busy puppies and toddlers is
at the
not
same time,
fun.
my goodness, yeah.
Right, it's not fun. But he is perfect for somebody who understands the breed, who's got some time to spend with them. You are settling. No, yeah. I'll keep rubbing your bum. I'll keep rubbing your bum. Yeah, apparently that's the way to his heart.
Yeah, well, you found it. Yeah.
Thank goodness I found the good spot.
You found the spot.
I found the spot. He has his vaccines up to date. They've been boosted, as I said. He's neutered, so yay for that. He is actually, well house trained as well. I would not, however, recommend him for an apartment for that reason.
Yeah. He is beautiful.
He
his
is
color,
beautiful.
his ears.
He is the cutest
so
fellow.
sweet.
And he is full grown, so he's a small-ish dog. Again, higher activity level. So if you're looking for a small dog, you don't have a lot of space, but you want somebody who's going to go running with you, or walking with you, or hiking with you, or do outdoorsy things, the Beagle is the dog for that. There was a time that the Beagle was voted like one of the smartest dogs. Go figure. And apparently they're one of the most loyal and one of the most recommended breeds. So maybe it's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
In any case, give us a call for sure, because he's got to go somewhere. You're doing so much better.
I gotta say, the look on his face when his eyes are half closed because you're petting him, he just looks so comfortable and happy.
Yeah, I'm glad to not be rubbing your bum now. Just your chest. It's all good.
So, can I just check in with little Nicky?
Oh my gosh. He has gone home. And he got the best home, and it was one of those weird circumstances. Somebody came to see somebody else and saw him in the background, and she was a nurse who has experience in working with people, physiotherapy, and she was like, I want to see this cat. I can meet this challenge. Hi! I was back to the bum rubbing, and it was destiny. I'm getting fabulous updates. Little Nicky's name is now Tiggy, and Tiggy is living his best life, rolling around on the carpet, loving everything. And I'm not gonna lie, there were tears. There were tears that day. We do have days like that, and those were certainly happy tears. And he is doing fantastic. Here you are, bum rubs again. Here we are. Here we are. Good
Hang in there, Watson.
Hang on. You're almost done.
You're a star.
You're almost done.
You're a star.
Next time we'll go for a long walk first. Next time you're going to be in a home. Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
You
I
tell
have
them.
a feeling he's
You
going
tell
to get
them.
snatched up.
Good.
He is
With
so
a big
sweet.
yard, right?
Good boy.
Lots of outdoor time.
Outdoor time is what this guy needs. A fenced yard. And maybe no close neighbors. Yeah, maybe. That's a heck of a bark, buddy. Good.
So beagles are actually good for, they have a very high, what need is it you call it? Where they like to...
Prey drive. Hey.
Yeah, prey drive.
Hey, bum rubs. Hi. Prey drive, but you know, it's more about sniffing stuff out.
Yeah,
they require, they're very good for scent games. Hi. They're really good for finding stuff. You can channel that. You're running out of patience. Okay, here. Bum rubs aren't cutting it anymore. Hey, one cookie? It's not real.
Sweet.
It's not real. Do you want it? Oh, you do. He's like,
I do.
Oh,
Say,
he's like, I do if it was real.
He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart.
He is done.
He's got so much energy. He's like a toddler for a little bit, right? But you know what? Like you said, they're very loyal.
They are.
Yeah.
He needs a home where somebody's got some patience. But beyond that, he's going to be great.
Yeah.
You're going to be great.
He's a sweetie.
You're just, a little loud and busy and stuff. But you're going to be great. Yeah, you will. You'll be great.
Yeah.
You'll be great. Hey,
out on the trails, out walking, enjoying the leaves right now.
You never know what you're going to get. Well, it's really a good indication of what kind of dog you're getting in terms of activity and the need to be out and about. Long walks.
He's a good boy. Let me see those ears. Let me see those ears.
There we go.
Oh,
so there's no surprises.
No
Who's a good dog?
surprises.
No.
This is a dog that's going to require patience. Lots of exercise. He's a puppy, and he's a high energy dog. He's a sporting breed. That's kind of what you get.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, you're so handsome.
A high energy
so
couple or a high energy,
absolutely.
a
family
runner
that likes to be outside would be perfect for him.
Yes. Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to see them only go as hunting dogs, right? And they lived tied to a tree. And I'm really happy that those things have changed in the world.
Yeah.
He wants to be a family dog, and they do great with families.
Yeah.
Don't ya?
His ears are like silk. Yes, they are. They're so soft. They're so soft. You're a good boy.
There. Oh, my
He's a good
goodness.
boy.
Now he's moving along. I'm
He
worried
just
about this
wants to
boss.
sniff stuff.
Just going to do this.
Oh, sniff my sneakers.
Don't.
He's a curious
You know what?
guy.
You won't have a boring house with this dog. Hey? It
No,
won't be
you
boring.
won't.
It won't be boring. You should have brought some cookies. Yeah, I should have.
Oh, he likes that. Yes.
More cookies?
So if you want to meet
Watson.
I was going to say Little Nicky, but this is not Little Nicky.
You can call him that if you want to.
Yes, come and visit Watson at the animal shelter and see what you think.
Absolutely. Hi. Take him for a
people
walk.
are
if
still
nothing
making.
else.
Yes.
By appointment.
So make sure you call to make an appointment to meet Watson, and I think that you won't regret it. If you're looking for somebody to play with, he is it. Thank you so much for coming, Renee, today for Adorable Adoptables with our very loud guest.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids?
Drugs are out there, Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids?
I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids?
Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Drug Free Kids Canada.
When an impaired driver killed my brother DJ, some people used the A word. They called it an accident, but it wasn't. An accident